All right, guys, my guest today has spent over 20 years doing something most people only ever hire someone else to do. Actually building things that last. He's the founder and CEO of Morcon Construction, an Aurora company that's put up everything from steel frame church to luxury custom homes to a high-end jewelry store inside Dufferin Mall. And built a reputation as a rare contractor who will actually talk you out of the expensive option. I know, crazy. Now he's carrying the same builder's brain into the investment world with Lormat. He's a craftsman, an operator, a living proof that integrity and profitability aren't opposites. Please welcome Rocco Marcello.
Wow.
Stronger, smarter, faster, healthier, better.
Great intro.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've done a lot of cool things. So, I mean, the list continued. Okay, so when we talked on the phone, I asked what was your favorite beverage, and you said that you make really good wine.
Mm-hmm.
So educate us on what this is, how'd you make it, how'd you get into it?
So my family has always made their own wine. I kind of dropped it a little bit for a couple of years, busy with kids and life. Now, recently, I've kind of got back into it a little bit, and this is a blend of a Cab Sav and a Merlot, California grapes. The good thing about this, no chemicals, no sulfites, just pure wine the way it was meant to be drank.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. We poured it a little bit earlier to let it breathe. You think it's okay to try a sip now?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think it's good.
All right, let's grab one. Let's give one to Stacy.
Thank you.
Give one to Aaron and Stacy. Okay, let's try this out.
Salud.
Salud.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's nice.
What do you think?
I feel like now I need a charcuterie board. So how long did this one take?
So usually I get the grapes in mid-September. We ferment them for a couple weeks. Then there's a crushing process, then another fermentation. Usually the average time is about Christmas, let's say, like 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. The wine is best at, let's say, 6, 7 months. So this one here is about 10 months old now.
10 months old. And did you have to keep on trying like a different batch? Did you get the spot on? Because we know, like we were talking earlier, the owners of this company, and they're also brewers. And there's almost like a science, also test and try again. Did you find that with the wine?
Yeah, the wine is very similar to that. The problem with the wine, though, is that the grapes every year might be a little different. California, depending on the weather, the grapes might be different, and the wine might taste. You might use the same formula, but the wine will come out totally different the next year. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty happy with this batch, and usually it's around this, taste and color. Mm-hmm. But even like the sugar levels might be a little higher. The alcohol might be a little bit higher, depending.
So yeah. I would assume that you throw a lot of parties for people to come.
Absolutely.
Like, we know you have it in the back. We know you have the...
Yeah, absolutely. People are knocking at the door.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we need the wine. And
have you thought of like naming it?
I haven't, to be honest, because, you never know. Everybody wants a different wine all the time, right? So it's hard to kind of I want to try getting into white wines, but because white wines, people have a taste for white wine. So I want to try to get into white wines, but the problem is it's a whole different process to try to get different styles, because if you imagine, you got to get massive amount of grapes and massive amount of cases, and my garage is basically full. It looks like a science experiment in there. So.
Is this like a self-taught, or did you learn from family? Because you're Italian.
Yes.
So red wine kind of runs in your veins, if anything.
Yes. I learned from my father.
Yeah.
I would say learned from my father, perfected with a few friends that have, dabbled in it and kind of perfected the art of the winemaking. So I would say started with my dad and, perfected with friends and other family.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so before Morcon, before any of this, what was young Rocco like?
Young Rocco?
Yeah. Were you like that? Were you automatically like that kid building forts? Were you always kind of like looking at things, breaking it apart, putting it back together?
Yes.
There's a certain Because one of my best friends is works in construction, and they just work differently. They look at things differently.
Yes. So as a young kid, yeah, building forts, building models, fixing bikes. I remember the best thing my dad used to do was, find an old television set broken in the garbage and bring it home, and, within a couple days I had it apart and testing, shocked myself a couple times. And, I was always good with, my hands in building. So yeah, it was a kind of a natural process.
Did your father work in the trades, or was he just a handyman?
He did. A lot of Italian immigrants, that was, the employment route when they came to Canada. They worked in construction. So he worked in construction, later got into government position, but yeah, he was always kind of in construction.
And your mother?
My mother as well. She did some like labor work with a breaker or an electrical company. And then after that, she just became like a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
pretty much my whole life.
So where did the work ethic came from? Because you are quite a successful person, and that is like, I feel like a lot of people we talk about this on the podcast a lot. A lot of people, like kids, talk about hustle culture and grinding and staying focused. But it's so interesting because when I talk to accomplished entrepreneurs like yourself, they full on talk about how frustrating, how much you doubt yourself, you overcome things. But it always stems from something that made them have that work ethic. Where did that come from for you?
The work ethic for sure was from my dad, from my family, from a very young age, get out and work. Or what are you doing Saturday? No, come to work with me. So from a very young age, I was always either working with my dad or, a part-time job at 14, and yeah, always working.
Did you ever like butt heads a lot?
Yeah.
How you guys got pretty good at communicating when you guys did, or that took time?
That took time. I can definitely tell you that, me and my father appreciate each other more now than we did back then.
But you both have like adult minds.
Yeah.
That's
I'm going through the same thing. Like my kids are 19 and 20 years old. So yeah, we're going through that same phase, but you can slowly see them starting to appreciate the fatherhood a little bit more.
Well, yeah, when you're a teenager, you think you know everything. And then when you get older, you realize you don't know enough. Absolutely. Right? So it's just funny how that that goes away from each other.
I still use my dad as a sounding board now. Like,
oh, really?
Even, he doesn't have much, experience in running a company, never did that much before, but, I still use him as a sounding, what do you think of this? And, what do you think of that? So
that's nice how that can bring you guys closer together.
Yeah.
Did you have like a mentor, or did you have somebody you looked up to? I mean, obviously other than your father, that helped you build into the kind of work ethic or the kind of business owner you are now?
Yeah. So early on in my construction career, there was a gentleman. He has long passed, but I read a lot about him, and I followed a lot of his success stories and his tips that he used to tell people. His name was Ernie Poole, and he started PCL Construction. So, PCL Construction is a nationwide, it's, I think, the third biggest construction company in North America.
Oh, wow.
And there was some really key, like 3 key points that he kind of instilled in his workers and his staff. And it was kind of like I took those, I posted it on my bulletin board and beside my computer, and I was like, these are the things I'm kind of following. So I would say beside my dad, it would be Ernie Poole.
It'd be him. So how did you get into construction? Was it like a trade that you fell into?
That's a funny story, actually. So originally when I was in high school, I used to love art, drafting, drawing, and that was kind of I was going into architecture.
Well, that falls into each other when it comes to construction with blueprints and everything like that.
It does. So my first year of architecture, I go into class and having a great time. I'm drawing, I'm doing all this stuff, learning a lot of the fundamentals of construction at the same time with architecture. I come to my the end of the year project, let's call it, not really a thesis, but almost like a big end of year project. You have to design a multiplex building, commercial at the bottom, residential at the top. And I worked hard to get this project done. Bring it in for the final, and everybody comes in, and everybody had these weird designs. Mine was a pretty simple building, very easy to build, I called it. Mm-hmm. So the professor failed me, and I said, why? I said, like, why are you failing me? I said, this is a building that is buildable. You can get it done right away. It's cost effective. And he said, Rocco, he said, my professor said, you shouldn't be in architecture. You should be in construction.
And that's why he failed you?
That's why he failed me. And he took all my credits, brought me over to construction engineering. When I got to construction engineering, they transferred all my credits because they realized this guy is already designing buildings that can be built. So it kind of put me ahead, and construction engineering kind of followed after that. And
so when he told you that, though, like, did you find that uplifting or like disheartening? Because your focus is what you're in right now, or what you were in.
Yeah,
at that time.
It was a bit of a shock, to be honest. I remember it. I was, I think, 19 or 20 years old. I remember it very distinctly, and I remember looking at everybody else's project, and they had, bubbles coming out of the roofs, and I said, like, how do you build this thing? And they're like, well, architecture is not about building, it's about creativity. And I said, well, I'm trying to design something that you can actually build. And they said, well, you're probably better suited at construction as opposed to design.
So when you jumped into that, how many years was that?
So that was a 4-year program. So 4 years later, at that time, the construction industry was booming. There was basically contractors waiting for us at the bottom of the steps when we graduated.
Really?
And they were, grabbing everybody. So there was a big shortage of skilled project managers and engineers to run these, multi-million-dollar projects. And I got kind of thrown into the lion's pit. And so right away, I think by the time I was 25, 26, I was doing $40-50 million worth of construction work a year for a company. And that's when I kind of started saying, well, if I can do it for them, why can't I do it for myself? And I didn't really like the way they were running their company, treating a lot of their trades, accounting practices. It wasn't. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take this. I walked down the street, and Morcon Construction started.
So yeah, that follows up to my next question, because did you always know that you somehow inside wanted to like work for yourself? Yeah.
I think working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, it's a different person. It's a different mentality. I think you have a mentality of working for somebody, or you have a mentality that you have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you're failing at it, you have to be in that mindset.
Where do you think like that comes from a person? Like how different they are?
It's very, very tough to say, because I have 2 kids. They come from the same house. They come from, same DNA, same family genes. One, I can see him working for someone, and one, I could see him starting his own business. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends. Like my buddy who I told you about, he doesn't like to be told what to do. So, I mean, he'd rather just do it himself or fail and do it himself and learn. Right. So I think that could be a factor in some people. But I think also there's some people who automatically see holes in people's businesses, and that's what gets them further ahead, right? Because like, well, I would do that differently, and I would do that differently. And it sounds cliche, but the courage to try it on your own is crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, you have to completely have almost some insanity that like, oh, I'll do it way better, I'll do it faster. And you have to back yourself up.
Yes.
with those facts, right? You can't just say it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Did you ever have a time where, you maybe got a little bit, ahead of yourself, or do you always do some stuff like really calculated?
I tend to be very calculated. I tend to kind of overthink a lot of scenarios, which sometimes is good. Sometimes, the anxiety gets a little too much. I definitely can tell you, like, the first 7-8 months of starting the company, not bringing in a paycheck, pushing all the money back into equipment, manpower, it got tough. I remember I bought my first home in Aurora, right down the street, in 2003, and and then your mortgage payments and stuff like that, and it was a scary time. But you kind of have to, brush it off and just keep pushing forward.
Well, what advice would you give, like, somebody, like a kid out there who wants to go on his own, start his own construction company? Like, what would be like 2 pieces of advice you would give them?
All right, guys, we'll get back to the podcast, but I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to our sponsors, Northern Hydration. So it's a Canadian company. They sell electrolytes. They have lemon, they have lime, they have orange. My favorite is the orange. It's one of the best flavors in my opinion. But use our discount code GetAlpha10. Other than that, let's get back to the episode.
I would definitely say to try it. It's not for everybody.
What do you mean by that? It's not for everybody.
Going back to, like, the question about somebody made for running a business and someone is made for working for someone, right? So that person that's made to work for somebody, you have to be very flexible. The other thing too is that you really need a family that's understanding, because you're not going to make dinners at home. You're not going to, be able to get to every function. I remember with my wife, I met her at the hockey game. She dropped one kid off, and then I went to pick up it's a juggling act, and it wasn't, running a business and having a family isn't easy. And I think the family dynamic has to be strong as well.
What communication? Yeah.
Yeah.
Key to every relationship.
It is,
eh?
yeah.
It's interesting because everybody says communication. I feel like the answer is simple, but the action is so hard.
The action is very hard. Yeah.
And so for you and your wife, was there an automatic, like, okay, this is what's going to happen? Or was there over time where, like, understanding and you giving her grace, she giving you grace?
Definitely understanding, and it definitely didn't come easy and right away. It was, a work in progress, as, every marriage is. I've been married for 23 or 24 years. So, every marriage, it's never perfect from the beginning. It's an evolving compromise. You're always
Compromising. Yeah, you are.
Right. Out, right.
Yeah.
And it never ends. Like, I think, like, my parents are still, working things out now, like, after 50 years.
Well, I think it's just because people are human.
Yeah.
Right? People are human. People either make mistakes, change, have different perspectives, and you ideally like to grow together, right? It's the worst when somebody has grown emotionally, spiritually, physically, and the other person hasn't, and that's how that gap can happen, right? So where did the name Morcon?
So it's actually the beginning of my first last name is Morcon, Morsillo, and CON was construction, and it was supposed to be just Morcon Inc., and then we just left the Morcon and just did Morcon Construction Inc.
Interesting.
So that's where it came from.
And because before you talked about like how people were treating their trades. What did you see there? Like, what gap do you see that?
So I have a strong belief in a team environment. So my success is not my own. It's a success of my tile guy, my architect, my engineer, my, even my labor. It's a team effort. I felt that a lot of the company that I was working for when I came out of school, it was just about themselves. The trade was, a secondary tier person. I always felt that team environment, if you keep it, the guy digging the trench is just as valuable as the engineer that's working out of his office. At Christmas time, both these guys need to, be appreciated, let's say.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But when you're talking to these people and trying to lead them, how do you grow yourself as a leader? Because even though you guys are a team, there always has to be a leader.
I try not to, put myself as a leader. Like you'll talk to a lot of people that build houses with me or develop. Like I'll push a broom right beside the labor will.
Yeah, you get your hands dirty.
Yeah, I believe leadership is more, propping people and pushing people as opposed to pulling them along.
Yeah. I understand that you're encouraging them, pushing them, and
pushing them. Yeah, but you're behind them, right? Yeah, like I imagine them, you pushing them up a hill, as opposed to dragging them by their arm up the hill.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever had like people that you've worked with where they're just like the connection, the communication, and like how do you keep your integrity, but maybe see that they're not on the team, like they don't belong on the team?
Yeah, that happens all the time. If there's a connection that's missing, or let's say I don't like the way that guy is talking or that trade is talking to a homeowner, let's say, we take a white glove approach. The owner is always right. You never talk back to them. You explain to them what the situation is. But, if you have a trade that's, aggressive with an owner or, that, we don't tolerate.
That's good. So the mid 2000s, day one, no reputation, no portfolio. How did you land your very first client?
So our very first client was a walkout basement that was leaking. His name was Chris Sweeney, lived downtown Toronto. I was just putting my name out there, making a lot of cold calls. This was before, no internet.
Ads, anything like that, yeah.
So it was a lot of cold calls. He says, I have my walkout leaking. I went over there. I underpriced it so bad.
Yeah. But what, because you wanted to get the sale?
I had no idea what I was doing with pricing. It was like, this was all new to me, right?
So when he saw the price, then he was like, "Oh,
he's like, yeah, come on in, right?
I'll pay you cash."
Yeah. And within a day, I said, "I'm in trouble," and because I was going to lose money on this job.
Oh, okay.
But I learned from it, and I went myself, and I was digging the holes with digging the walkout with the laborers to try to save some money for myself. You learn, and that was the first kind of job that got me going. And then, construction was funny. It was all referrals back then. So you did a good job for this guy. He told 5 people. Those 5 people told 10 people. All of a sudden you're getting big contracts. You're getting, and you're stumbling along the way. You're making mistakes. You're stumbling along the way. And, all of a sudden then you're building, 5,000-6,000 square foot custom homes.
So how did you get people to trust a brand new contractor?
That's
right,
tough.
because I'm sure there's conversations like, have you done this before? Yeah. And you either lie, or you just tell them like, no, but we're more than confident to do this or that. How did you get them to trust you with new projects that you haven't done, even though you've probably, done in your brain?
So a lot of research and a lot of talking to other people. So I make a point, never burn any bridges. So even the contractors that you worked with before that you don't work with now, they might have had experience with this type of project. So I'm able to go there and say, can you help me out with this? Then now all of a sudden I can go to the owner and say, I know someone that's worked on this. I'm going to do this job, but I'm going to get the help and advice from this guy. So then, that trust comes along. So
interesting. So how did you go from residential renovations to commercial projects and high-end custom buildings? Like that's quite a jump.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So I think the commercial side of our business really came from, my knowledge of engineering background, because a lot of the general contractors at that time, they didn't have the engineering background, they didn't have the education. So they were stuck in that residential renovation market. Because I had that, I hate to say it, that education behind, like that propelled me into a different category of commercial contractors that now are a little bit more, refined, discussing with engineers, doing different plans, and it's not the normal constructions. That's kind of how I got into the commercial.
And what were the big things that you had to learn from jumping into that?
Every project was different. I mean,
Was there anything like stood out where you're like, really have to do some research on this?
the research is like all the time. I remember for women's college, we did a project, and this electrician that we hired couldn't figure out this alarm system. They had to open up that corridor of the women's college like the next day. I remember like going and just researching, and I kept going back that night and trying to reprogram this alarm. When this electrician, he said, "Oh, I got to get this other company." I said, "We don't have time for this." So those learning curves that you have to take the bull by the horn right away and get that project or that problem solved right away. I think that was key. And we got the women's college open the next day.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
You got it done?
I got it done. Yeah.
You got it done. So what was the hardest part of growing? Was it finding work, finding good people, obviously? Was it managing cash flow? In the beginning?
Cash flow was a big one because cash flow with a construction company was key.
Yes, I've heard this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so can you explain to us why that's key?
so going back to Ernie Poole,
Yeah.
so that was one of Ernie Poole's key points. He said, keep your books as, I can't remember the saying, he said, keep your books as good as your clients. So basically your books and your accounting was top priority. And he basically summarized a construction business as 80% accounting and 20% work. And a lot of construction companies will do the reverse. They'll say it's 80% work and 20%, accounting and your business sense. The construction part of it and the cash flow is very tough to manage. Like I learned budgeting from a very, very young age. Even one of my aunts, my aunt was a bookkeeper. She taught me how to do all my budgeting and bookkeeping and taxes all on manual. And this is when we had so she taught me all manual, and she said, first couple of years, do it on the spreadsheet, pencil and a ledger, if you can imagine.
Oof.
And you had to balance it within, a couple cents.
Yeah.
And she said, if you learn how to do it this way, she goes, when you have QuickBooks, like now we have accountants and stuff like that, but you learn how to do it back then like that, and you're going to understand your business so much more.
Yeah, and you also, even though you have accountants to do this and all this stuff, as a really good operator, you should still know what's going on, right? Because I was reading up that cash flow is what kills a lot of construction businesses, actually.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you give people advice, is definitely understand the cash flow part of it. But why is cash flow so important for the construction business, though?
So construction business, you're working on large amounts of money, but the profits, that you're taking are, relatively small compared to that project. Like, you can be doing $30 million worth of work in a year, but you're only taking, 2%, let's say, or 3% of this. The problem is when you're getting paid projects, you're getting paid draws. And sometimes those draws can be more than what you're paying out to trades. So a lot of companies, they get in trouble. They say, oh my God, look, my bank account is at, 500,000 this month. I can go buy more equipment, or I can go do that. And then they realize the next month they're going to be in a deficit. So that's the biggest problem with cash flow with construction companies. If you buy that equipment that month because you had too much, now you can't pay the trades the next month.
No, that makes sense. Also, like, I guess you have to factor in like seasons of material being more expensive, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, during COVID, lumber prices went really high, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you play around with different sources? And we're not going to go to the list of the lumber yard. We're going to go here. Do you try to keep those relationships with that? Like, how do you forecast steel or something going up?
You can't forecast it. During COVID, it was a really, really tough time, and even finding materials sometimes. We had a lot of projects stall halfway through because you physically couldn't get the materials.
Yeah.
I remember driving like 4 hours up north to get like a couple floor joists to continue on a project because that's the only place that had, and they wouldn't ship them down. So
You had to go.
yeah, go in the truck and you go up there, pick them up, and you're back, right? And the guys can continue. You had to do stuff like that. Pricing a lumber, I never been a guy that's, shopping back and forth to save a couple bucks here and there. I felt that the loyalty to, a few lumber companies always served me better because I can always rely on that service after.
Interesting. And then like, how would you, I guess, because it just brought me up now, when you're talking to somebody, you have to, let's say, like pause their renos because of something. That's a tough conversation to have, right? Yeah. If they think that, everything's going well and it's supposed to be done by July and now it's going to be done by August, like, how do you pre-frame that conversation, right? Because that's conflict in some way.
There are a lot of tough conversations in construction, even in terms of experiencing extra costs. Like you tear down a wall and you didn't think that was behind there. Those are tough conversations. The problem with general contractors and builders is that they're like mechanics. You never get good news when you go to a mechanic.
Never.
Right? So mechanics have a bad rap, and contractors have a bad rap too. There's a lot of shady contractors out there, and we can't help it sometimes that there's unforeseen items, right?
So like how do people know if there's a shady contractor? Like what should you watch out for if you're, asking what questions should you ask to know that this person is legit?
Definitely referrals. Like, you definitely, like all the clients that we go through, they've all been referred to us. That's where the trust comes. If your brother or sister used this contractor and it was fine, most likely
you'll trust it.
Yeah. I mean, I really would say if you're trying to find a contractor on Kijiji or Facebook,
that's a solid no-go. Yeah.
You're probably going to get into trouble.
Yeah, fair. So how did you protect your reputation and quality the bigger and busier you got, right? The more you have, it's tough because you can control certain little projects, right? But when you expand, it's hard.
Yes. Expanding is hard because you have to rely more on other people to give you that good reputation because you can't be there all the time. And that goes back to selecting certain trades, certain architects, certain engineers. Like, if I have to set up a meeting with, let's say, my kitchen company for somebody that's doing, a $2 million custom house, I tell them beforehand, like, this client better walk out happy or else we're not getting the next job. So
yeah, it's almost like we got to do this to make sure that the next one's even better and so forth. And so forth, not just focus on that one, right? Okay, so I read that your project list runs from Steel Frame Church in Woodbridge to a jewelry store at Dufferin Mall to change rooms for the town of Markham. Out of all of them, is there one that like you're most proud of?
I would say probably more
rewarding, maybe.
Rewarding, I would say the most are the custom homes, especially when you're dealing with some great like out of the box interior designers that. You look at their plan, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to build this thing? And
can you give me like an example, like something that you're like, oof, I don't know.
Floating staircases, for example, like
seems cool.
Yeah, like we've done a couple floating staircases on some builds, and like they're complicated to engineer and to get fabricated. Like there's only very little fabricators that can do engineering. So I would say like custom homes with an interior design. Out of the box thinker would be the projects that we would.
Has there ever been anything that you're like, I don't feel comfortable trying to work on this one?
No.
Walking away? No?
No.
You always take the challenge
yeah.
of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would say the floor and staircase is probably one of the most challenging things, but back then,
Yes.
that you took.
Yeah.
How,
I'll figure it out.
how long did that take?
Ooh.
That job.
That job, I remember that staircase alone was probably around 3-4 months. So that was probably about a year and a half.
The staircase was 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And if you imagine, like, the staircase is integral to the whole building.
Of course.
So it's like, you're stopping that, you're stopping everything. But the client wanted that, and that's what they wanted. And
That's what they got.
yeah, and that's what they got.
You did a medical clinic fit up in Hamilton.
Yeah.
That included a full working pharmacy. Healthcare build-outs have pretty brutal code requirements from my understanding.
Yes.
I guess that's another thing that you have to learn is the coding and everything like
Yeah.
that. Explain how you learn that and how do you work around that?
So actually that project in Hamilton, I actually had to go and take another course while I was working because they wouldn't give me the permit unless I had this other course within Hamilton to be licensed to work on these medical facilities.
Sorry, what do you mean by course?
So the city of Hamilton offered this course that contractors had to take in order to be licensed to work on these medical clinics in Hamilton.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to do that, while you're running a company as well. But,
And
challenge.
being a father and being a husband and just trying to like be a person.
Yeah.
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 That's pretty crazy.
So the medical, medical projects are a different animal altogether, from sanitized floors to different types of toilets to, pharmacies, like security of the pharmacies and, installing safes for certain drugs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Interesting. Is there something you really want to work on that you haven't yet?
I wouldn't mind to do like a high rise, like something like, 4 or 5 stories and up.
Why?
The challenge.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Interesting. A high rise. So you also run Lormat. Is it Lormat or Lormet?
Lormat.
Lormat Investments,
Yeah.
which you started a few years into your business. What did you see that made you separate that from like an investment vehicle?
So I guess the 2008 recession really kind of affected us, and we really had to kind of strategize. And business is all about pivoting, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it happens in every business. Something doesn't work out, you got to pivot. Business fails because you try to stay in one line all the time, right? You constantly have to be, floating around to see what's going to work. We found with the investment company, our property investment company, is that we found that we can partner with the construction while we're investing in properties and bring investors on to invest in some development. And, then we got into subdividing land and things of that nature, planning and development.
And that's a whole different beast too.
It is, yeah.
Right? Because once land developing, all that stuff gets involved, there's a lot of things. Anything you had to learn and pivot from there?
Yes. Going back to, my education of construction engineering, I learned a lot of the basics of planning, but I'll be honest with you, dealing with different cities and the planning departments is a challenge in itself because, downtown Toronto, the planning standards are completely different than Aurora, let's say, or Newmarket, or...
How so? What's one...
You can get, City of Toronto, you can get stuff pushed through a little bit easier. They're more into, dense, you can get a 50-foot lot and you can put 3 townhouses on it, where Aurora you couldn't, or Richmond Hill you could, or...
Yeah, it depends on what red tape has in each, and you just kind of try to... I guess that's where the fun part of being an entrepreneur is how can we solve this right now, right?
Yeah. And where can you go? Where's the, where are the property values? Sometimes Toronto got dried up pretty quickly because everybody realized that you can do this, this, and this. Then what happens is the property value goes up, so there's no money to be made there. So then you can go to, let's say, Bradford, and Bradford was kind of untouched, and you couldn't do anything in Bradford. You couldn't subdivide anything in Bradford. So then you go to Bradford, and all of a sudden you learn that there's a little clause in there that you can do on a certain amount of properties. You go target those properties, send the real estate agents knocking over there, and then, gather a couple investors. And then all of a sudden, that's where you can really leverage the property investment side of it.
So for someone starting a trade or service business today, what would you tell them to do differently than you did?
What I did differently, I don't think there would be anything different that they would do. Be prepared that, it's going to be an uphill battle. I mean, it still is an uphill battle even to this day. It's
really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And now times are changing. Like, I think we talked about it before, with COVID, and we did a lot of the HGTV channel shows, and then, they moved down south. So you had to pivot to doing more custom homes. And now more custom homes means you need to find more land. So constantly have to be pivoting and figuring that stuff out.
What do you think it takes to be successful in this line of work?
A lot of hard work. And
what does the hard work look like?
The hard work looks like, it does not necessarily the, 20-hour days. Like, it could be, manageable. You can have, Sundays off, but you're definitely off hours, right? You're definitely answering the phone. Yes.
Clients and stuff like that.
Yeah. Missing a lot of family functions, stuff like that.
Are you better at balancing that now?
Yes.
Yeah. And is it because you work so hard to push it up that you can take that step back, or did you find that own balance yourself now?
Well, it's going back to, the compromise of a marriage, let's say, right? When I was younger, in my, 20s and 30s, I worked 7 days a week. When my kids were, in need of hockey practice and go-karting, one of my other sons was in, you needed to find that time. And then you needed to say, you know what, we need to figure something out to have those weekends off. To this day, I actually, the last, I would say 10, 15 years, I usually take my weekends off. I'll answer phones and if there's an emergency, but I like to try to just do a 5-day work week. Yeah.
Is it hard for you not to itch to get back into it though? Like, do you have to really put those boundaries for yourself?
You do, yeah.
Yeah. How do you do that?
You just have to, I'm not doing it. Yeah. I still answer the phone. I'll still go see clients. I'll still visit the job site. If there's trades working, I'll go early in the morning, and I can be back, for coffee with my wife on a Saturday morning, right?
Yeah, interesting. So. Are you pretty proud of yourself, the way that you've put everything together in your business? Like, I feel like a lot of people with businesses don't take moments to be proud of themselves.
Yeah, It's funny that you said that, because I don't consider, I guess I should be proud of myself. I don't think I've ever thought about that, to actually be proud of myself.
Because it like I said before, I just find that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, everybody wants to be a business owner, but it's hard, and it's a lot of internal conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just continuously learning.
Yes.
Continuously learning.
Yes.
And humility.
Yeah.
A lot of humility. So I always like to ask these successful people, are you proud of yourself? Because I feel like they don't take that time to...
Yeah. I actually never thought about that. That's a good question.
Is that a weird thing for you to
Yeah, it is.
Why?
I don't know. That's just a weird question. Yeah, I never thought about that.
But you are.
I am, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. No problem. No, I just find again, successful people are just always chasing. And I think that's what separates them from the rest, is that they're chasing greatness.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's greatness is never really you can catch, but you want to be on there forever, right? For yourself, to make yourself proud. But it's interesting, because it's it's incredibly hard to just sit and be yeah, I'm proud of myself for this.
Yeah, I guess if you say you're proud of yourself, it almost means okay, I can stop.
Yes.
So maybe that's not a,
I have that problem too, though. I'm trying to help you help me.
Okay,
Because I have a huge problem with being proud of myself.
Yeah, because it almost means like, okay, I'm proud of this, but what else? What else is there? Like,
Yeah. See, I have a problem with saying that because I think if I take that 2-minute break, I think if I take that moment to be proud of myself, that's one step back that I could be propelling forward if I just stay on the road. I don't know if that's healthy, but it is honest.
that is honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you should give me the laptop and I'm going to start interviewing.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode. I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to one of our sponsors for the podcast, Methylene Blue. You can find this at Paradigm Supplements. We like to use it here at the podcast just because it helps with gut health, immune system, ATP performance. Use code GETALPHA15 for a little bit of money off. Other than that, let's get back to the episode.
I feel like I need a little more wine.
Oh, this is good.
But yeah,
We're
so
self-reflecting today.
I think that's it. I just find it interesting with business owners how they find themselves, how they look at themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like for you, Aaron, like you're a very successful business owner. Were you ever proud of yourself? Did you ever take a moment?
So it's a very complicated question.
See?
Right now.
I'm getting somewhere.
Because, you'll find that the most successful business owners don't waste time with what's the word, introspection,
Intro.
Yeah.
Introspection.
right?
We all went to school.
Yeah. So, you're just too busy, right? And like I think Dana White talked about it recently, where he's just like, let's guys need to stop thinking about how they're doing and just do, right? And I feel there is a lot because it's like a theme right now, like meditate and think about your day and plan.
A theme or like a trend?
A trend, right? So it's a trend right now. It's trendy to have some introspection, but you talk to the billionaires and you talk to the Dana Whites and just go. Don't even think about it. You don't think.
Yeah.
You don't stop to think. And that's the thing is those type of people they're happy with themselves. They always have been. They know they work hard. They don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where like myself, with my history and family background, I did think about it a little bit for sure. Like, am I, and it was great because I did have a moment where I had my dad come up, and it was actually the last year I was open. We did a Christmas party, and my clients 50 or 60 of my clients showed up. I couldn't believe it. Like I said, here I'm gonna have a Christmas party. Anybody want to come? I couldn't believe. I was so honored that 60 of my clients took their time to come to our company Christmas party, right? And my dad was there. He got to see. He's getting really old at that point, and so I did have a moment because we got home and he was walking upstairs. And he's like, I'm really proud of the community you built. And it was just like, that was all I needed.
So is that more of somebody else seeing you, like seeing your hard work, than you and giving you that? And I mean this in a respectful way, but validation.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, we all want to make our fathers or family proud of ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I think I am of the personality type where I need some external validation.
Yeah.
Right. But
I think there's nothing wrong with that too. I think a lot of people say you don't get any validation, but I think for example, you seem like the kind of guy that has a lot of integrity, but I'm sure that your wife and your family, their words hold a little bit more weight than an average day person, right?
Oh, huge.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think people try to be like, I don't need any kind of validation, and it's okay.
Well, my brother doesn't. He's the hardest working person I know, and he just he doesn't need that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I tell him I'm proud of him because I know it doesn't even cross his mind, right? That type of stuff. But I tell him, right?
It's all right.
But he just doesn't need it.
So that was the moment though that you felt that proudness for your business when your father told you that.
Yeah, I wasn't fishing for it, right? Nothing, right? It was just it was kind of genuine, and it was for him to see. That's why I invited him. That's why I kind of timed it when he was going to be up here, so he could see what I built because my whole family's in construction except for me, right? And my dad's a civil engineer. One brother is a heavy machines operator. The other one's an electrician. The other one owns a structural steel, miscellaneous metals company. Like, and so I was the oddball, right? So my dad is in construction and all the sons are in construction but me. So I was like, I want him to come up and see what I really do, right? It was amazing experience, actually.
I know Stacey's proud of herself.
All the time.
But you're healthy, so.
I think you have to, though. I don't know. I feel like you work so hard and you build whatever your business is. Like, I don't know, whether we have a really full class or one of our like parties or whatever it is, or like we get great feedback from a podcast or somebody says that this helped them, or somebody like if their goal is to lose weight, they lost 5 pounds or to lift heavier. So I annoy Norman with that all the time. I do think that you should take a moment when you can. Like for you build homes where families can create their memories.
I never thought of it.
Right? Like I think back to my childhood home and all the amazing memories I have. Someone built that. Someone like you built that for families to
have Christmases,
have Christmas, have Easter, have their egg hunts.
Whatever you celebrate.
Yeah, whatever you celebrate. But, you create a place for families to build all of those things.
Yeah.
So I think
think
it's
about
perspective too. But I don't know. I think you have to take a moment, because if, like, I tell him all the time, if you're not taking a moment to like take a step back and be like, pretty cool, then like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's just incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But
I'm getting better at it.
I feel great today now. This is
all
like therapy. This is
all for you. All for you.
I feel great.
Yeah. So riffing off of that, do you remember the last time like somebody said they were proud of you?
I don't. I'll be honest, like going back to my father, he was a man of very few words.
Are you a first generation immigrant? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born here. My parents were born in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they had it rough when they came here.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're not looking for, they want it, if they're tough with you, that means you're going to succeed. It's not like he was a mean guy. It's just because that's what they were trying to instill in you to keep moving forward. But, a little smile when he saw something was enough to say.
He said without saying
yes.
The situation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a little tap on the back. Where we weren't a hugging family. We weren't like,
Oh, really?
Yes.
Italians are so... I'm Latin. I feel like Italians and Latins are like very like, yeah, we're happy. Let's have fun. Let's, we're merry.
I guess that it's like the proud of you without, saying it.
It's like, I don't have to say it, right?
You don't have to say it. And and it's that little look or that little, he comes on a project and he's like,
it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess he does. I guess I do get it.
They all do it in different ways, though. Like, I did not grow up in a family where
She grew up in a military family.
Yeah, so like I had to work for people or for them to say like I'm proud of you or anything like that. So I think but also I think I just didn't care, and I was like, well, I'm proud of myself. So it doesn't, much to their dismay, it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, it's always nice to hear from your parents, but it's very like my siblings are not like that. But so I think it just depends too how you're.
Yeah, I think it's like
as a person.
Yeah, it's personality type a little bit, but also I do find, and I think I read this somewhere, where it's the people who have a really good relationship with their father, for example, like they don't need that exterior support as much.
Yeah.
Right? Because they know that's how they were raised, to know that they know themselves. Where like my dad was a great man and a great father, but I think maybe I needed a little bit more because I could maybe just tell a little bit when I went into computer programming and software development, he was a little disappointed I didn't go into construction, right? So maybe like I just needed that verification a little bit later on because I had that sense that and I had that sense that maybe he was a little bit more proud when I went and worked construction for one of my brothers, right? Rather than software development. He didn't understand. And then when I went into personal training and health and fitness, he really didn't get it. Never said anything, but there's just that sense, right? And so I think like like my brothers don't need that external, but I do a little bit just because I kind of went away from, he's a great man. He was very supportive, very loving and kind. He never, as far as I can say, never did anything wrong, but you know, I sensed it. So maybe I need that a little bit because I find like my brothers don't, right?
Interesting. So outside of like building the beautiful homes, facilities, the investment, the being a great leader, like who is Rocco without all that?
A father, a husband. I love, my kids are older now, but, I still love spending time with them. Growing up, into sports, hockey, go-karting, traveling to tournaments, stuff like that. So I definitely think family life encompasses my, a description of me.
And what fills your cup?
I like volunteering a lot. I volunteer a lot in the community. Like that is like a huge part, my family. I urge the kids to. My wife volunteers quite a bit. Giving back, little events here and there. If you can help out, those are always great. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do a little fun little rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. What's a non-negotiable in your daily routine?
Non-negotiable. Glass of wine.
That's a daily routine. That's amazing.
You know that there's people that live to 100 with a glass of wine, red wine a
It needs
day.
to be one glass though.
Yes,
It's
one-
hard not to. It's hard to do not.
Yeah.
Especially with this one.
Yes. I would definitely say like family time with like a dinner at the end of the day. Even if it's a quick dinner, I know it's hard these days to get everybody together, but I think that's kind of a non-negotiable, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, I know that's fair. Pineapple on pizza. Yes or
I
no?
know, but I have a good friend. He's not with us anymore, but
Okay.
he had pineapple on pizza. So every year, I hate it, but every year we do a get together in honor of him, and we have pineapple on the pizza. So I'll say once a year.
Once a year because
Yeah.
it's delicious. Because we like pineapple.
It's terrible.
I love
Terrible.
I love pizza. Any kind of pizza except for anchovies.
Okay.
But pineapple on pizza, it's not like I get it every time, but sometimes I like to spice it up. Add a little pineapple on pizza.
Meat lovers all the way.
Pineapple, no way.
No, it's not like I get it every time.
It's a little salty and sweet. It's perfect.
It's true. Best piece of advice you've ever been given.
Best piece of it. Love what you do. The money will follow. I think that's, a lot of people get into business because they think they're going to make money at it. I find that if you don't love what you do or you don't love the business that you're in, it's never going to be successful. You should never, get into business because of the money. So I think love what you do, the money and profit will follow.
What does success look like for you now versus when you started?
Flexibility in life. So, when you're established, I find that success is you're able to take a couple weeks off, or if you don't get that job, you're not going to suffer. So I think that's what success in a business aspect looks for me.
What does retirement look like for you?
I don't think I'm going to retire.
Ever, eh?
No,
Yeah, me neither.
no.
What does slowing down look like for you?
More volunteer work. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I, get involved in the community a little bit more, or, stuff like that.
Okay, describe yourself in one word.
Motivated.
What does alpha mean to you?
Alpha, don't let your foot off the gas.
I like that one. I really like that one.
Don't let your foot off the gas. Someone told me that recently. Yeah, don't let your foot off the gas. When you think that, you're progressing, like don't coast.
Push it down more.
Push it down more.
Yeah, I really like that actually. Well, thank you for coming on. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I grew as a person through this therapy session. I feel like Aaron did too, and I think Stacey's always been fine. So, so it's all good. But, okay, so Instagram handles, what are you doing next? All those good stuff. Tell the audience how they can find you.
Instagram handle is Aurora in the Loop. So
We'll make sure we'll put everything down.
thank you. Yeah, so just getting involved in the community. I'm getting involved in local politics. Still running the construction company, full force, the investment company and development, and just doing a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you coming up. You got a question?
I do, actually. This book construction, you said
Yeah.
development. You said the development company. Can I ask you, which city is the worst to deal with?
Are you allowed to say this before I put you on the spot?
Yeah. The worst to deal with?
Brad.
Mississauga is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I heard they got a lot better. But yeah, I would say Mississauga. Yeah, I would say Mississauga.
I have some stories about Aurora, but you do too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 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 Well, okay.
Aurora, I'm good because there's so many. I guess we've done so much work in Aurora that,
You know, relationship.
yeah, or the person to kind of ask that question and might be a little bit easier.
Yeah, well, because originally we were going to open up a gym at Earl Stewart Drive.
Okay.
And then we got the keys. We're about to lease it and all that stuff. And there's also this hoopla. But before that, because I think a week later is when the COVID lockdown happened.
Oh.
And then we all know how that went. And so we had to pivot. But before that, when we were trying to build into the space, we had to do like a minor variance and all this red tape. And it worked out because we're here and we're having a great conversation. But yeah, that was a little bit frustrating to deal with on our end.
I wish we would have known each other back then. I could have.
Well, when we
you
get
out.
our new place,
Okay,
we're going to get a bigger place soon.
please call me. I would
We'll-
love to help.
Speed dial.
Yeah, I would love to help.
Speed dial. So yeah, when we get a new place, you're our guy.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, okay, so we'll put those handles down, but we appreciate you coming on. This wine is delicious. I think we
you for
should name it Divinity or something like that.
Okay.
It's
Sounds-
delicious. I love it. Well, guys, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to give him a follow. He's a great man. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, share. Road to 100. We love you guys. Ciao.
Thank you.